Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome those of you popping in. It is good to have you, and welcome replay viewers. All right, let's go around. Yes, I am glad to see you here. So I actually feel a little nervous, even though I Periscope all the time. I feel a little weird doing like a Q&A kind of chatting thing. This is a little out of my comfort zone. I tend to hop on, give a quick scope, and then hop off. So just bear with me. I'm going to do my best with this kind of thing. All right, let's see if I do that. All right, so first, introduction. I am Mary at Not Before 7, and I'm very unhappy with the lighting in my house. But I'm a homeschooling mom of 4 kids. They are ages, let's see, 13, 11, hi Angela. They are 8 and 6. So 13 and 11-year-old girls and 8 and 6-year-old boys. This is my website, and you can find me on Facebook and all that. So one of the things I started this year is I started a book club for my 13-year-old daughter and for my 11-year-old daughter. And it was actually an idea I got for my 13-year-old daughter first. Socialization has become extremely important at her age, just time with friends. And I also, we follow, oh good, I'm so glad everyone's here and as excited as I am. We follow the Brave Writer lifestyle. And so she produces book guides for 3rd through 6th grade called The Arrow. And she produces 7th through 12th grade are called the Boomerang. So that is why we call the book clubs Boomerang and Arrow book clubs. Hold on one second. Yeah, Kaylee, do you need me? No. Okay. So my other idea was to help her transition from the easier books to the more difficult book guides, because thank you, Jessica, bravewriter.com. Because in the Boomerang book guides, there are think piece questions in the back for the first time. And I started thinking, well, that's going to be a lot easier and more fun to do as a group than for her and I to sit there and try to talk about these. She's not going to be as excited about that, and it's going to be more like pulling teeth than it would be if we were in a group of girls, like a classroom setting. So one of the big questions I get is, how did you start it? So it was sometime in like May, June, I started brainstorming this and thinking I'd really like a group to be able to do this with. So I started, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm also a mom of 4. So I started thinking about who my kids were friends with, who were friends with my 13-year-old, that she would enjoy being in a book club. And I just started kind of thinking about moms and their daughters that would fit nicely with my daughter. And then for each girl in the book club, I tried to make sure one of their good friends was there also. So as I started thinking about 7th and 8th grade girls, I started making sure in our group of 10 that we formed, everyone had at least one really good friend in the group, and then maybe they would get to know one another. So everyone knew my daughter, but they didn't all know each other. So that takes a little time, but because they didn't all know each other, I made sure they knew at least one other person other than my daughter, if possible, if that makes sense. So everyone kind of had 2 friends there, my daughter, and then at least someone else they knew. For my younger daughter, I just did the same thing. I started thinking about her friends and who their friends were. There's only 7 girls in her club, and I think that works well. And there was only one girl I invited just because I knew the family was doing the Arrow study guides, though that daughter really didn't know any of the other girls, but I thought that might work out. And actually at the December book club, it definitely showed that they had started bonding. So that's just kind of how I started. I emailed the moms. I knew that we were using the Arrow and the Boomerang as our core literature for our homeschool. So the titles really weren't up for a whole lot of debate. We were using Julie's Arrow titles, and I'm going to go ahead and show you those on her website. I'm going to flip it. So this is the Brave Writer store, and she puts out a list of her entire year books right here on the Arrow. And I just sent that out to the moms, and I said, these are the books that I'm doing, and I'm looking to form a book club using these books. The only thing we changed is we did not do Wonder because we had to eliminate one because we weren't starting in August. So we decided to eliminate Wonder because a bunch of the girls had already read it. And then we moved on from there. So we changed it up just. So the titles really, we didn't have to have a lot of discussion and debate about the titles. They were already established when I sent out the email invitation. Here are the titles I'm doing. I would like to form a book club with our daughters. And then the other thing I asked in the Arrow Book Club is that each mom consider hosting 1 month. So they will lead the discussion and provide the snack and craft. That hour and a half they would be in charge of, because this is a drop-off book club. So that was kind of a big thing to ask. So the moms knew ahead of time that they would need to take a month. Now, obviously there's some flexibility in that. I put in there, I have a great house to host. We have a big open room in the front. So I said that anyone was welcome to use my house for hosting, and I would help set up. And then they could kind of take over the front part of my house, and I would leave with my other kids and do something else if needed. And I'm actually going to go ahead and host 2, and so is my friend Jessica, just to make the full year work out. So let me see some of my other questions. How did I get started? So that is how I get started. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was really key, I think, to organize it right from the beginning. And I went ahead and created a Facebook group. Now, not all the moms are on Facebook, and that's sometimes a little difficult because I have to remember to email 2 of the moms separately in my Boomerang Book Club. But I put it in a Facebook group. I created an event for every book the entire year and put the date and the house that it was going to be. And if there wasn't a house yet, I just went ahead and put the date. So everyone could go to that Facebook group and they can see all the books, all the dates, where they were going. And if there were any reminders I needed to make, I could put it out there. Now for my Boomerang Book Club, it was a little different. I wasn't quite ready to follow all of Julie's choices at Brave Writer for 7th through 12th grade because I have a 7th grader. And I wasn't sure if some of the selections would feel a little too old for her. So instead, you can purchase individual issues of the Boomerang, and that's what I decided to do. So I went on and I picked probably 7 or 8 titles, and I emailed a few of the moms and said, these are the ones I'm considering. Are there any on this list that you are dead set against? And really there weren't. So I went ahead and picked, as long as everybody was pretty good with all of them. And then we decided in December to do short stories and in May to do Shakespeare. So I really only had to pick September, October, November, then January, February, March, and April. And we haven't decided which Shakespeare story, but I'm going to just kind of come up with that. I might take Brave Writers, the Shakespeare class at that time. So I also just emailed those moms. Once I narrowed down the titles, I assigned them each a month, sent out the email asking if they were on board. Now the difference with the older one is because of the think piece questions and because I was trying to take a leap into literary analysis, I did not ask the moms to lead the discussion. I told them all that I was 100% willing to lead the discussion every time if they would rotate hosting and doing the snack and, you know, whatever atmosphere they wanted to provide for the book club. All of our books have had a movie. So after our discussion and getting a snack, the girls have watched the movie. This will be the first book club tonight because it's short stories that there's not a movie. So the girls are actually, I think, really looking forward to just eating cookies and playing games and drinking hot chocolate. That will be the atmosphere at our short story book club. And we'll be making the ornaments I showed earlier today. If you missed that scope, we're going to make ourselves little book club souvenir ornaments tonight with all their names and all the books we studied. I started thinking about what was going on in that book, and I started searching that. So I began to search detective birthday parties, secret code activities, secret code birthday parties, and looking for things that I could incorporate into the Mysterious Benedict Society book club, even though they weren't directly searches for that book. So that's what you kind of have to think through. So when you do Poppy, I think Vicki shared that she was doing searching for like mice birthday parties or mice crafts and things like that to come up with it. And the earring that they made, she actually came up with that herself. So you just kind of pay attention to what's going on in the book and how you can incorporate that into a little get together. So it hasn't been too bad. Okay, Golden Lines. Vicki said to mention, I have mentioned my Golden Lines book before. This is one of Julie Bogart at Brave Writers' ideas. sorry. I was actually using my Golden Lines book to hold up my iPad. And this is what I have done in just my 7th through 12th grade book club, is each person was to get a journal. This is mine. My daughter's actually is golden in color. And for each book that they read, they are encouraged, not required, to put a favorite quote from the book in their journal. I actually had a really long quote from Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. So I have adopted this as well, and I'm reading along with the girls, and I have been putting a favorite quote for each of our book club books, and I have been challenging myself to do it for all the other books that I read on my own. So Just Mercy was actually one that I read on my own and put a quote in, but I have my quote from Catching Fire, I have my quote from Little Women and The Outsiders. I actually picked 2 quotes from The Outsiders, and then they just did short stories. So I have a quote in here from Gift of the Magi and The Necklace. And today I'm going to write in my favorite quote from The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. And, we have one other book, Gift of the Magi, The Necklace, The Lottery. Oh, and Two Kinds by Amy Tam. So I'll put my favorite quote. And the goal is that at the end of 12th grade, at the end of their high school career, they will have a notebook full of all their favorite quotes from all the books they read from 7th through 12th grade. And obviously you could start this earlier, but 7th grade is when Julie suggested it in the Boomerang Guides, and that seems to have been a really nice year that my daughter's enjoying it. She's not fighting it, and it's been kind of fun for her. I think it would have been maybe a little harder in 5th, but you know your own kids. So start it whenever you want. And as an adult, it's a great idea. I love going back and looking at something that stood out to me in a book. I'm actually really enjoying my Golden Lines journal. So that's it. I think I've answered all the questions. Yay! I was so nervous. I've made it through. So does anybody who's on here have any other questions about how to get started? Or you're welcome, Vicki. You are the book club queen. You should be doing this here with me. Vicki was the original book club that my daughter joined. She started on Facebook, and that's really where all this spurred off in my mind 2 years later. So you're welcome, KJanMB. I don't think I have your name. Would you tell me your name? Would you write it in the comments so I can jot it down? I've been trying to write down people's names so I can associate them with their handles. Sometimes it's so hard. Thank you for the time update. I'll let you know when I'm done. Karen. All right. Karen, did your handle used to just be K?